It's known as the Kola Super Deep Borehole, and what scientists found inside shocked the world. Rocks far older than anyone expected, heat so intense their machines almost failed, and mysteries that no one has fully explained. In this video, we'll break down why it was drilled, what was discovered at the bottom, and why the project suddenly stopped. But the biggest mystery is what might still be hiding down there. The Soviet Union wanted to show the world that it could match or even outdo the United States in every frontier of science. While America was launching rockets and sending men to the moon, Soviet scientists chose a very different path. Instead of reaching for the sky, they set their sights on the depths of the Earth. This became known as the Cold War's Hole Race, a shadow contest that mirrored the space race, where a victory was measured not in miles above the Earth, but in miles below its surface. The story began in the early 1960s with the American project known as Project Moholy. Scientists planned to drill through the ocean floor to reach the mantle, the layer beneath the crust. They succeeded in breaking through more than 1,600 feet of sediment and basalt, a remarkable achievement for its time. However, the project was abandoned in 1966 after Congress decided the cost was too high. It had already consumed about $57 million, which would be close to $470 million today. The dream of reaching Earth's mantle slipped away for the United States. The Soviets pressed forward with their own plan. In 1970, drilling began on the Kola Peninsula, a remote and frozen corner of Russia. Over the next 2 decades, engineers and scientists worked relentlessly. By 1989, their drill bit had reached 12,262 meters, or 7.6 miles down. Even today, no human-made hole has gone further. For the Soviets, this was more than a scientific project. It was proof of technical strength, a declaration that they could explore and master even the harshest challenges hidden deep within the Earth. In a race defined by ambition, they dug where no one else could. To truly appreciate the scale of the Kola Super Deep Borehole, you have to think beyond ordinary measurements. At 12,262 meters, or about 40,230 feet, this hole extends deeper into the Earth than Mount Everest rises into the sky. It even surpasses the depth of the Mariana Trench, the deepest part of the ocean. No other human-made vertical hole has ever gone farther. For Soviet scientists, this was more than a technical record. It was a chance to look into Earth's oldest layers, an opportunity no other project had attempted on this scale. When the drill finally reached the deepest levels, it encountered some of the most ancient rocks on the planet. Granite that had formed an astonishing 2.7 billion years ago during the Precambrian era. But what surprised the team even more was the extreme heat lurking below. At that depth, the temperature shot up to about 180 degrees Celsius, far hotter than the 100 degrees Celsius they had predicted. To put it simply, the deeper they went, the hotter it got, and the numbers defied expectations. This intense heat created severe problems. The granite did not behave like solid, unyielding rock. Instead, under pressure and temperature, it softened and started acting almost like plastic. The rock wall slowly crept and squeezed inward, closing in on the borehole. Imagine trying to keep a narrow tunnel open while the very ground around it melts and flows back in. The deeper the drillers tried to go, the more impossible the task became. These conditions marked a turning point. It became clear that while technology could push boundaries, the Earth itself set limits that were nearly insurmountable. The project, once driven by Cold War ambition, was now a battle against geology itself, a battle the drillers could not win. As the drilling went deeper, scientists began uncovering discoveries that no one had expected. One of the biggest challenges turned out to be extreme heat. The deeper they went, the hotter it became, far beyond what geologists had predicted. Temperatures reached levels that destroyed equipment and made it nearly impossible to continue. What was supposed to be solid science suddenly turned into a battle against the furnace-like core of the Earth's crust. But heat wasn't the only surprise. At depths where no one thought liquid could exist, scientists found water hidden inside fractures in solid granite. This discovery shocked researchers because such depths were believed to be sealed tight against fluids. It suggested that Earth's interior was far more complex and dynamic than previously imagined. Even more astonishing, tiny fossilized plankton were found nearly 6 kilometers underground. These microfossils dated back between 2.5 and 2 billion years, making them some of the oldest known fossils on Earth. Preserved in ancient stone, they offered a glimpse into life that existed long before humans or even complex organisms ever appeared. The borehole also revealed something strange during drilling: mud that appeared to boil. This wasn't caused by heat alone, but by hydrogen gas bubbling up from deep inside the crust. Scientists believe this hydrogen was released through natural chemical reactions between minerals, creating mud-rich and gas that literally fizzed at the surface. Perhaps one of the most important findings was how wrong pre-drilling geological models turned out to be. Scientists had expected to hit basalt rock at around 7 kilometers deep, marking what they thought was a clear transition point in the crust. Instead, they kept finding granite. What geologists thought was a change in rock type turned out to be metamorphic changes within the same granite, forcing a complete rethink of what the Earth's crust actually looks like beneath our feet. But beyond the science, the Kola Super Deep Borehole became the center of strange and unsettling stories. One of the most famous was the so-called Well to Hell hoax. According to the tale, Soviet scientists drilling deep into the Earth supposedly broke into hell itself and recorded the screams of tortured souls. The story spread rapidly in the late 1980s and early 1990s, amplified by tabloids and repeated across radio and TV. In reality, this myth had no connection to the actual site and was set in Siberia rather than Kola. But because the Soviets were so secretive about their work, the story found fertile ground. Fueling the myth was a piece of manipulated audio that claimed to be the screams from the depths. In truth, it was cobbled together from sound effects, movie screams, and dubbed noises. Yet, the Kola borehole did produce its own mysterious sounds, not of the supernatural variety, but eerie seismic vibrations and low hums that seemed almost alive. Scientists explained them as natural interactions between rock, pressure, and machinery. But to outsiders, they felt like whispers from the Earth's core itself. The line between fact and fiction blurred. On one hand, the real discoveries were extraordinary. Extreme heat that defied expectations, hidden reservoirs of water deep in the rock, and microscopic fossils that revealed life had once existed where no one thought possible. On the other hand, the myth of screams from hell took on a life of its own. The contrast only made the story more powerful, transforming the borehole into a place where hard science and human imagination collided. Drilling at the Kola Super Deep finally stopped in the 1990s. The official story says it was because the heat was too extreme, the technology wasn't ready, and the money had run out after the fall of the Soviet Union. But that hasn't stopped the rumors. Some believe the scientists uncovered something unsettling. Others whisper about strange sounds deep underground, stories that were quickly silenced. Today, the world's deepest hole is nothing more than a rusted metal cap in the middle of the tundra. No guards, no warning signs, just a steel lid over what many call the door to hell. It looks ordinary, but beneath it lies a descent so deep, so unknown, that it still fuels mystery and fear. And that's the haunting legacy of the Kola Super Deep Borehole. Humanity's boldest attempt to pierce the Earth's secrets ended not with discovery, but with silence. Maybe we stopped because of heat and money, or maybe we stopped because we saw enough. One thing is certain: the deeper we dig, the more we realize how little we truly know. If you enjoyed uncovering this mystery, make sure to subscribe for more stories that reveal the hidden and the strange. And if you think this was wild, wait until you hear about the secret holes we've drilled into the ocean floor. That's coming next.